Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Mikkel Thorpe, and this is the Expat Money Show. Today's guest is an international financial author, speaker, self-made multimillionaire, and if that weren't enough, he's also an official Guinness World Record holder. With his 20 years of financial experience, he teaches highly effective practical strategies for bolstering financial security and freedom. He currently lives in South America and speaks 5 languages. Please welcome to the show my very, very dear friend, Thorsten Wittmann. Thorsten, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Well, it's funny, we've been friends for years now. We have traveled all over the world together. We've spent time together at many different events and conferences. I've been out on your boat and we've shared so many meals together, but somehow you've never been on the podcast. So I don't know how that happened, but we're remedying that today. So for my listeners, why don't you walk us through your backstory a little bit? How did you get into this line of work? And yeah, I want to hear it all.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And actually, it started very average. I grew up in Germany, so nothing special. I would say, kind of like a normal family in Germany. I went to school. I actually, yeah, I was always quite, like the good boy. There was nothing like liberal in my blood, at least. Or maybe I had it in my blood, but it wasn't seen at this moment, at least. But then, I got some recommendations for books, and I got into personal development, and somehow I found out around when I was 20, yeah, I'm not a victim, So it's really possible to shape my life because my work experience, etc., was very frustrating. It didn't start very well. My father was working for a bank earlier. And yeah, then that was actually my goal. I wanted to work for a bank as well. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a great reputation. I would love to work for a bank, which would be today one of the least jobs I would search probably for. And yeah, my dad passed away, and he was like in the beginning of like independent work as independent financial advisor. So I started a little bit with him, and then, well, unfortunately, I had health problems. So when I was around 23, he passed away. So I overtook like his freelance company in the beginning of advising people, with investment funds, etc. And well, but after a while, I found out, okay, it's not an easy job. 23 starting in finance area is not easy at all, but it was afterwards seen probably the best what could have happened. So because it's like really going to an iron bath, we say in German at least. I don't know if it's the same in English. And yeah, it was a great practice, and I found out, okay, like more about the financial system, and that it's actually very different what I learned from my studies. I studied business administration with major finance, and I found out, well, life actually, the practical things are a little bit different from what I learned, and then I got into topics like precious metals and internationalization, and that there might come maybe one day like a collapse of the euro or of the financial system, which we have seen like 2008, 2009, Lehman Bank. I think a lot of people who were in the age of following the news know what happened. And then that was for me like waking up and really seeing what is happening. And then actually I thought about going out of the financial area because I didn't know anymore what to tell my people. Um, but then there was kind of like a new Thorsten born, and I speak just out frankly what is happening in this world, and I try to make it in a constructive way so that people, yeah, they're not like just frightened, but really they see the options, and that we are creators, and we can improve our lives, we can improve our freedom, which will be taken every day if we don't take care of it. And yeah, we deal with it every day, of course. So you know very well about it. I know very well about it. And that was in a time when I like were looking for my own freedom. And yeah, and I tried a lot of things. I think that's very important, being open-minded to try a lot of things out, until I found my passion today as international financial author and researching these kind of things. It took me a while, to figure it out. And I went also a little bit into multi-level marketing, for example, a little bit, into nutrition. But I thought that this is multi-level marketing is not my nutrition as well. but I tried it at least, So, and I tried different things out. But I always came back to the topic of money because uh, people are manipulated by the financial system, by financial elites, by politicians. So I thought, yeah, this is really important. People should know about it because almost nobody tells them about such an important topic like money. And we could learn it at school. I mean, we could also learn at school about health and having happy relationships and how it works. So, I mean, yeah, we learn everything about like geography and biology, etc. But which is nice. Okay, it's good to know, but it's not a game changer in life. But if you know about money, how it works, the financial system, about health, for example, and other important topics, these are game changer because we need it every day, and also we need money every day. So yeah, and that was my start, and it was also involved with a lot of work. So I'm used to work a lot and still like this, but today it's not like I'm working that much because kind of like I have to, but it's more because of deciding to and because I love what I do. But in the early times, that was like, yeah, finding my way, trying a lot of things. And it was hard. It was not easy. It was not making some clicks. And
Makes sense.
and then yeah, and the last part, well, I learned a lot about what was the area, like the internet was growing, and I thought, that's very interesting what's happening there. And then I found out, yeah, you can earn money in general or to work via internet. And then I learned several years about it, how it works. It didn't work at all in the beginning. It was the time before Instagram and Facebook was, yeah, gradually growing at this moment, but there were no financial influencers. So basically, I actually was kind of the first one in the German market. So and it was really tough. So I was working together with internet marketers, for example. They were promoting like the first courses I made. So that was like, yeah, the Wild West a little bit of the internet and what's happening. But then, yeah, suddenly it went up, and after having a lot of faith into it, of trying and working super hard and was not easy at all. Yeah, it really, yeah, got better and better and better.
Well, it's super interesting because you have a traditional background in a lot of these types of things. You mentioned banking, mentioned financial planning and wealth management and these types of things. And most people who come from that type of traditional background would never look at the type of, quote unquote, alternative investments that you and I specialize in. But you have a unique perspective because you saw it from their angle and then you saw it from kind of more our angle, and you've decided over the years to gravitate really more into this alternative to the real estate. You mentioned precious metals, things like that. I don't think most financial planners are putting precious metals in someone's portfolio right now, even though it had phenomenal returns over the last 13, 15, 16 months. So, that's a really different perspective that you're going to get from a lot of people. And I think that really positioned you, especially at an early stage, as being an expert because you have this firm background behind you, but you're so open to new ideas. And I really respect that about you.
Yeah, for me, it just made sense. I didn't trust stocks anymore because when I researched about it, okay, um, like during big crisis, even the stock market can go down like 80 or 90%. And yeah, it probably will come back, but it's not fun if you need like probably around 10 or 15 or 20 years with a real crisis or a big crisis. And for myself, I never believed like really 100% what I learned in the studies. I don't know why, but I never 100% believed in it. Yeah, somehow it made kind of sense, but I had always doubts about it. And then when we had like the financial Armageddon, 2008, 2009, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's actually why I didn't believe in it because I thought, okay, the past can be the future, but it doesn't have to be. And then, for example, learning about precious metals, I thought, okay, it's like for 5,000 years. It always had value. It went up, it went down, okay, of course, but it always had value, and no paper money had these. So it just made sense, okay, to investigate and to more about it and to invest also in these kind of investments. And then, like I think that the most important part or what is one of my personal strengths is being open-minded. I listen to everything and I try not to judge it and like judge it afterwards. I know more about it or having an opinion, I would say, not trying to have an opinion about something I don't understand. So, and yeah, it's working very well for me.
So what type of things these days really have your attention? What things are getting you passionate and you're really excited about?
It's I think it's a lot about technology and what's going on at the moment. So I'm really starting, and I'm really looking forward to dive deeper into artificial intelligence, crypto, and robotics, etc., and what's happening in the next years. Because um, for me, it seems that we are in a huge change of humanity. And it's frightening at one side, definitely, because we all don't know what's happening exactly in the next years. I'm just, or we can be sure a lot will be changing in the next years. And I think it makes a lot of sense to be really prepared to it. I think it's not the time to lay down and to relax. I think it's really getting the most out of it until one day we might not understand anymore how regular markets work. And you know, we all know more and more about artificial intelligence. With IQ tests, they're already reaching like the more or less or over the average of humanity. So, and we have exponential growth. So that will be really interesting what's happening the next years. So I would be prepared, you know, if because soon we will have the state where like basically almost everything besides what is like really, really human, it can be made much faster and cheaper by any machine. So, and this probably goes really fast. So I would be prepared. I think it's also very fascinating. I see it with a lot of opportunities. So, and I think it's always good to see it with a certain curiosity. Of course, we don't know. I mean, like, um, what AI will do if they are much more intelligent as we are, and they have the power to do anything basically what they want. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense to think about it because it's not in your own control. So I think just being here, being present, making the most out of every moment makes a lot of sense, and seeing big opportunities in the future. And I'm quite positive it will be bright, at least for the people who have the right mindset and who focus on the right things and not on like complaining about everything what's going wrong, etc. And there's a lot in politics going on in this world. We will see big changes. We see already in the US, for example, but also in Europe. It will be very fascinating. I myself, I try to see it as a big theater, you know, and to see it from a neutral perspective. Oh, wow, it's really crazy what's going on. And yeah, how can I profit from it? Because most things in life we cannot change. So I think it's just good. It's interesting what's going on, but not like going into it, especially emotionally.
See, I must have watched The Terminator too many times. I was born in the early 80s, and
Yeah, yeah.
the rise of Skynet has kind of stuck in my brain my entire life. I must have watched that movie on repeat 200 times. And so this AI stuff, to be honest with you, it scares me a bit. You know, I think that we have to be really, really careful. I agree with Elon in a lot of these types of things. And if you actually track back the history of how OpenAI was started and then what it is now and all of these other ones. And I don't know if you've been following the story with DeepSeek, you know, these new Chinese AIs that is being basically produced for a fraction of the cost. And now we're going to have all these little different AIs, and we're going to have AIs that are fighting each other, and they're going to be used in military. And I mean, I think all of it is
Military
very
part is very interesting. Yeah, yeah.
it's weird. I mean, it's you know, like I said, maybe I've just watched too many movies, but all of it I'm being very, very cautious with. I'm not a Luddite by any means. I'm very proficient with technology. I understand technology. I was born using a computer at a very young age, earlier than most, I would say. And we have, you know, we're taking advantage of AI on certain things on a daily basis. So I'm not being left behind on all of it, but I'm also very skeptical, and I'm also very pragmatic in preparing for a lot of these types of things. With my investment thesis, I'm actually doing the opposite of technology in a lot of things because I try to look at AI. What is it going to do in the destruction of jobs? What jobs are it going to make redundant where they don't need a lot of this white collar work anymore, where it can be done more efficiently or more effectively, or just even with less people overseeing it, and a lot can be done via AI. So I'm now looking at industries and really trying to figure out what are things that absolutely cannot be taken over by AI. And for me, a lot of that is like housing, real estate, food production, agriculture land, these types of things. I am very confident that we will still need a roof over our head in 6 months, a year, 10 years, 50 years from now. So my brain is kind of going in the opposite direction, not investing in technology, but doubling down on things that are not going to be affected by technology, or not to the same degree that they're going to be affected by other ones. What are those basic human needs like that we absolutely must have?
Mm. I definitely agree with it. I think also everything what is related to a human experience, and also like travel parts, for example, and like the human interaction and communities, this will be still very, very important. I think also having a personal brand, just like posting out some information stuff on the internet, not showing their own face maybe for whatever reason, but in future it doesn't work, definitely. But like a personal brand where there's a real person, and this person, he or she is not a robot, is not artificial intelligence, is like a real person, and with the strengths and also the flaws. I think that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, developing ourselves more into this, and also like the personal relations. So
Absolutely.
I
I
think
mean,
that
they're
makes
always
a lot of
talking
sense.
about
Yeah.
VR and AR and all of these types of things that are going to replace these experiences. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't reckon. Like, I still want to get on an airplane and go and see someone, see somewhere in person, go and visit it. I still want to sit down and share a meal with you and shake your hand and spend time in interaction.
Yeah.
It can't all be replaced digitally. Yes, I'm very
Yeah.
grateful and thankful for the internet, but it's not going to be enough. I still think that human and that personality, as you described, is so, so important.
Yeah, I think it will have like everything advantages and disadvantages. So not just like focusing on AI, everything is bad and the world will go down or whatever. So maybe it will. So actually, for me, it helps the attitude. Okay, maybe like in this case, I'm the wrong person to say if artificial intelligence will destroy humanity, and still all the researchers they say there's everything between 0 and 100% and everything in between. So it's hard to say what will happen. But for me personally, it helps me to ground into today and say, hey, yeah, I don't know if I will be alive in 10 years for whatever reason. I mean, it can be also health or whatever, an accident. So we never know. So for me, thinking about it helps me actually, okay, to be more in today, to enjoy life, but also not to forget probably there is a tomorrow, probably there is next year, and there probably is next in 10 and 20 years. So, and I think humanity will find its way. So, and like I said, yeah, and not going emotionally into everything what's happening in this world, because we have a lot of cruel things, but we have also a lot of beauty and a lot of love in this world. So it depends just on what we will focus. And I think a lot of people who are very deep into the hard stuff, and I think they forget a little bit about the other things in life, and they go emotionally too deep into it. And I know it's not fun what's going on, but this is also judging. So we don't have to do it like this. We can focus always on the good parts of life as well. And I think that makes sense. Seeing what's not going well, but not going like really into it emotionally, and yeah, and enjoying life, and also the abundance we have and today's opportunities. So I think it's very exciting to be in today's world. So we have opportunities which we would have never had like 20, 30, 40 years ago. In some months ago, actually, I made an Antarctica trip, and that's like really to the geographical South Pole, and it was very special. And a trip like this, I think it was like 110K US dollar or something. So, and yeah, to have these kind of experiences, because yeah, we can lose a part of money, or maybe everything, but we can never lose our memories. So, and yeah, and to enjoy life and to not forget there is a tomorrow. Yeah, so
I
that's
think
a
that
little
makes
bit like
perfect sense. It's a very stoic way of looking at it, and I admire that. I think that's really excellent. And I think that a really interesting thing is, all these people You see them that they want to do these amazing experiences in their life when they retire, or when I, leave my job, I'm going to do all of these things. I've always looked at it the opposite, and I would guess you would feel the same. It was like, I want to do these things right now because I have no idea, what's going to happen. You walk out the house tomorrow, you get hit by a bus, and it's all over. So like, why wait to do all of the things that you want to do until some future arbitrary date? Like, why don't you just do the things that you want to do right now? Obviously, there's financial considerations, there's family considerations, there's all of these types of things. Of course, I get that. But whenever possible, try to live your life, like try to really get out there and enjoy. And in the same vein of thought, you see over the last 5 years that people just doom scroll all day long. They're on their phone for hours and hours and hours, looking at negative news and negative press and all these bad things that are happening in the world. And for me, it's like, why would you want to spend this precious amount of time that you have on planet Earth only focusing on the negative things? Like, how is that going to better your life? I'm like you. I would rather focus on all the beauty in the world because there is so much amazing things. I think it's important to protect against the downside. I'm very pragmatic, but once I have those things in place, I want to go out there with my kids. I want to barbecue and have a drink and, enjoy my life and spend time with people that I care about. I think that's a much better use of our time. So let's shift gears a little bit though, because I want to understand a little bit more like when someone comes to you and starts working with you and they've kind of had a bit of this awakening and they're seeing things maybe more from our perspective. What are the things you're working with them on first? Like what are the things that you need to help them to understand, to kind of transform their life? Because that's really a lot of your work is transformation. You focus on the financial sense, but other things have piqued your interest over the years.
Yeah. So, well, I found out people usually they come to me because they're really scared about what's going on, and they will lose maybe their money, they will lose their freedom, and yeah, everything is going down, and their life could be affected a lot. So, and that's like the protection is the first part. So people usually don't come to me to learn, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit bored, but I would like to get financially free. So, but that's normal. We human beings, we really need to suffer. That's important. And it was the same basically for me. I wanted to be financially free because I was really suffering and I didn't want to be in the rat race for the rest of my life. And so I was really willing to really hard work for it, because the other alternative would have been like this pain of being in the red race for the rest of my life. And I think that's the price. If we don't take care of our finance, we know already, we will be the rest of our lives in the red race. And I hated that thought. And people who come to me, they are they're usually really scared about what's going on out there in the politics. I'm working more in the German market. That's really crazy what's going on with Germany and the politicians.
Criminal.
So it's really like the left wing woke state more and more, and censorship and in the media and everywhere it's told that yeah, this is normal, but it's like fighting crimes, etc. And it like regular insultations are hunted already down by the politicians. So they're really scared about this, and they're looking for options. And well, I found out actually, if we want to have at the same time freedom and security in our lives, especially with the topic of money, that's actually we can reach it at the same time. And this is internationalization. That's what you're telling your people all the time. I can just say, this is it. This is really how we get both. We get freedom and we get security at the same time, if we understand that. And of course, we have to do something about it. We have to research on our own, but always the fastest thing is go to somebody who did exactly what you wanted to do, what you want to do, and yeah, and it was maybe also like a good person, or there's a good vibe. You can relate to this person, and then learn from that. That's what I do today. So I don't buy usually like regular like small online courses where I just go to YouTube. Yeah, there is really great stuff on it, for free. But it really makes sense, yeah, to go to have a deeper research about it. And yeah, my people understand that, and I think it's really important. Well, I invested some $100,000 into my personal development about finance and everything all together, not just finance, but in general. And I really applied it, and that's what a lot of people they don't do. So they start a little bit or they start reading a book, but they don't finish it. And that's a very important part. Well, and then what I do is okay to talk about internationalization. These topics, they're very similar for us, and that's actually the interesting part. When we meet, where there's always interesting because you have more like I would say the the American focus, America in general, like a little bit more, and I'm more from the European focus, and we have very different experiences, so it's always very interesting. Um, yeah, and then after this point, yeah, you have some international bank accounts, for example, international investments, maybe some real estate passive income, some residences, maybe some more passports. And then that's like the security part. And what I try to give to people is also not just to look down what's wrong and to secure from what's wrong, but also to look up. And there's actually a lot of space. So, and I believe firmly we human beings, we are very powerful creators. That's actually amazing. We are creating all the time. Just most people create more or less the same what they created the other day because they thought the same, they did the same. So basically they have the same results. And in these times today, this is really dangerous to have similar thoughts and not really to develop fast because what's going on in the outer world with artificial intelligence, etc., is moving really quickly. And this is something new which we never had before. So it really makes sense to take a look on it and also to find trust in ourselves. Because I think that's the only thing we really can trust on. We never know what will happen. We don't have 100% security for whatever. But we have one stability, and that are we ourselves and what we do, and to be ourselves to trust.
No, it makes perfect sense. I think with a lot of these things, you have to understand that this cross-pollination of ideas, reading things from different mediums, having different experiences. And then when you do go to create something, as you outlined, you can bring in and borrow and use all of these influences from different spaces to do something completely new. It's very interesting learning about different types of industries, and what is normal practice in one industry is completely radical and foreign in another. And to even take that on an international stage in both of our work is like things that are done in one country that work really well and being able to bring those ideas into another. That's certainly what I'm doing with real estate. We have some new projects that I'm joint venturing with some partners on for things that I learned and saw when I lived in Asia, and now I'm bringing those concepts to Latin America, and it's going to be a complete game changer and things that have just never been seen before. And I think it's just going to be amazing to watch these things. But if you're only, in one space or one mindset with all of it, then it's just going to become very stagnant. And I think you have to be dynamic in today's day and age, or you're going to get left behind.
Absolutely. And it will happen to most people in this world. So it will be much more radical and it will be much more extreme what we've seen since COVID. Actually, for me, I think COVID, what we had, was kind of like a warm up for what we're into it now and what will happen in the next years. So, like I said, I wouldn't be worried about it. I just would see it really as a motivation. Yeah, to move our ass because yeah, there will be big changes coming. So I think
Absolutely.
this is the time
Absolutely.
like to take action, be curious, to learn, meet cool people. Yeah. And then I'm sure like for these kind of people, everything will be okay. But for the lazy people and they hope everything will get back to normal, that won't happen.
For sure. For sure. Talk to me a little bit more about some of your adventures, some of your travels. You mentioned that you went to Antarctica. I think you actually invited me on that one a few years ago, but I think there was something going on. I couldn't do that cruise with you. I've had a chance to travel with you to other amazing places. Talk to me about some of the adventures and the things that you were like, super excited to go and see and felt really passionate about.
Okay, sure. Actually, it was a little bit a change for me for my 40th birthday because it was actually the same. I had like a certain bucket list and things were always like, yeah, I want to do this. But more or less until 40, I didn't do it. And then, then the 40th birthday was coming. And I thought, okay, I would like to do something special. So I made a Hurtigruten cruise in Norway, which is gorgeous and beautiful. So I highly can recommend it. It's going also to Svalbard, like this like Norwegian neutral island, where also like the Russian are partly Americans, etc. And that is really beautiful. And it was amazing. And there was like a 20-day travel. And actually, the cool thing was when I was on the cruise, there's this amazing landscape all the time. It's not just like being on a cruise somewhere on the sea and there's just sea. And then on the left side, you see something, some islands. On the right side, oh, there's a nice Norwegian village, for example. And I went through the ship, and it was, and there were a lot of like glass walls, so I could like see on the left, on the right side, and also on the left side. Oh wow, that looks amazing. Then I looked right, and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And then I was like on the front on the bar, and I thought, oh wow, that's amazing, like a new view again. So, and that remembered me, hey, this is actually what life should be about as well. It doesn't have to be a Norway cruise. I think it can be also like some exploring some cool things in the own area, maybe going into a castle cafe, for example. I have some really great experiences over there, or making a weekend trip to a crazy place. Going to ChatGPT or AI and making some proposals. What can I do crazy in this area, for example? What is interesting? So, but that was like a little bit so turning point, because I thought, yeah, hey, why I didn't do it before, so I could actually start doing it. What I'm doing at the moment is I try to have every 6 or at least 9 months something really interesting and special, but I'm really looking forward to it. So, for example, what was also very interesting when I've been to India, I've been to an like spiritual event over there, and I stayed a little bit longer. So I researched a little bit, and I think by chance I found out there are some cool train tours, and it was from Delhi to Mumbai, and also going to Taj Mahal and some other cool stations. And it was amazing experience. It was great food, great service, great things to see, and it's even great for our remote workers. I think that's actually perfect to do, because I would say still I was working 6 hours, sometimes maybe more every day still. I was like in the train, and um, there were some rests, of course, etc. One or two excursions I didn't do. So yeah, so I was working at the same time. I was really productive. Everything was taken care. For me, that's personally very important. I love to be in places where everything is taken care. I'm at the moment here in the salsa city here in Cali. I'm in a great hotel. I'm the third time here, because I know I have everything what I need. And that's very important, to have the focus and not try to save every cent and euro or dollar we can save. I think this is very important, to be productive and to gain money like this, of course. And at the same time, yeah, try to do some cool things at the same time. And I think also a good recommendation, actually a good friend of mine. Um, I never thought about having YouTube Prime, where you don't have advertisement, but you can download videos. And YouTube, there are really cool, great videos. Basically, also like your channel, for example, or my channel, you know, and of course, some really great other channels. So you can download them for how much is it? I don't know, like 10 or 12 bucks a month, you can download the videos. So I went from Pereira here to Cali some days ago, and I was like in the car for 6 hours, and most times I was just hearing and watching some interviews and interesting things on YouTube. At the same time, I was seeing the amazing landscape here in Colombia, and the driver, like Uber driver, was brought me to some nice villages, and I was walking around a little bit, half an hour maybe, or having a nice coffee break, with a great view. And yeah, back, and I was still at the same time I was working, was traveling and working at the same time, and like this, it's really possible. So I think in general, life is negotiable. So if we really take a look on it, and if we take a look on the details and about the possibilities, and that's definitely the great thing now. We have so many amazing opportunities which we never had before. It like 100 years ago, it was not possible to go to Antarctic, and was not so easy to go to a different continent, and it was big trouble. So we should focus and be aware about this as well. And we can do it like in smaller things, and we can also do some cool and great, amazing big things, you know. And I think everything has its place, and it's just like really to think. I think, and this is very important, if we think about every detail in life. If I wouldn't travel all the time, you know, I definitely would like have a home trainer, for example, at home. And then I would like sometimes I love watching sometimes movies, and then I always watch it with subtitles, you know. And usually I watch it not in my mother tongue, so not German. So, for example, it can be I watch it. I like to watch it in the original version. So, for example, it can be English, and then with French subtitles maybe, or Spanish subtitles. So I'm practicing two languages at the same time, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And this is like how we can go ahead about something which is interesting. And to know languages is definitely an advantage. It's opening doors which would be closed if not. So at the same time, we can do some sports. We can maybe even watch some nice documentary about interesting things, so we can practice three things at the same time. And that's how we go faster than anybody else, because most people they don't train even one of these things, you know.
Sure.
So and this is like we have a real USP and advantage which we will need in these times.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up language learning because it's another one of these things that they say, oh, this is going to be replaced by technology and there's no need to ever learn another language. And I think this is completely false. I actively study other languages every single day, and I don't think it will be replaced because language is more than just the words. It's trying to understand someone else's perspective. And, you know, I have so many German friends, it's not even funny. Like, I swear, I gravitate to Germans more than any other nationality on planet Earth. And I think that's because Germans are very precise. And it's not just a cultural reason that Germans are precise. Germans are precise because the language is precise. So that is how Germans are built, you know, for lack of a better word. So to understand a person is to understand their language. Like I try to speak Spanish and I am fluent in Spanish and I can have conversations and I can watch TV and things like that, but I'm always trying to get better. And a Latino way, a Spanish way of saying things and the structure of the sentence, it is very magical the way that they use their words and their language and the way that you know, there's a lot of mysticism almost like things happen, you know, not like you did this thing. Like it's very different. And then you can see that reflect in the culture. I think with any type of AI or translation or babblefish in your ear or something like that, it's going to miss all of this stuff. So a real like that depth of experience, I'm right there with you that learning another language and trying to connect with others on their terms is amazing. Is it possible to do with every language? No, it's not. But even just a couple of words in another language to show respect to them goes a long, long way. I had to go to the Turkish embassy the other day, and you know, I met the person, and I was saying please and thank you in Turkish to them. You know, and you know, you get a smile. Like I'm in Panama at a Turkish embassy. You know, most of the conversations happening in English, but I got to pull out those few Turkish phrases that I knew, and you could just see them smile, and it was just you know kind of cool to connect with people in different languages. And to your
Yeah.
point about Colombia, Cali, what a cool place that is almost never mentioned. You know, you always hear people talk about Cartagena, maybe to a lesser extent Bogota. They talk about it, even though I would say Bogota is maybe not the most beautiful place, but certainly Medellin. Medellin is just absolutely gorgeous. But no one ever speaks about Cali. Maybe you can describe it a little bit to us, like what the city is like. And you say you've now been 3 times. What's drawing you back to that area of Colombia?
Yeah, I think if we find places where we just feel comfortable and we know and we're happy to come back. And by the way, for me it's also Panama. I'm looking forward to come back to your big event in some weeks, because I know the places, I know some people like you, so it will be fun, you know. I think that's always great. And I think it's like for me it's a mixture of having both. Sometimes I'm coming back where I know the area, I know what I'm gonna do, and I can focus, for example, on work and research, etc. And that's great. And that's a little bit here. So I'm not like here on exploring a lot about Cali. But if you come to Cali, like my favorite area, and I've been in a few, is it's called San Antonio, and that's like the historical center. And they have really a lot of like really cozy and cute cafes and restaurants. And I love that, you know. At the moment here, I'm in a hotel, and it's like it's a great boutique hotel here. It's called Alco. If somebody's searching for it, I really do like it. Um, I've got breakfast and everything, and they have room service, you know, in the evening if I just want to watch a movie or something, and I bring room service. I love that, you know. And you can see it's like very clean and very safe as well. Yeah. So and I love in the afternoons like going out. No, I take my MacBook and I'm going to a cute cafe. I will have some coffee, something sweet, fresh juices. They have a lot of variety here in Colombia. That's crazy, you know. Like very often, if you go somewhere in Europe, they don't have at all any fresh juice, you know. And here they have like I don't, and some really weird things like Lulu and Guanabana and like really weird fruits, you know. And I love that. So yeah, today the mango or maracuya. Well, I figured out there is like an interesting combination which you can try. It's like mango and maracuya um, together,
Passion
which
fruit.
is really
Yeah.
good. I can really highly can recommend it. I learned something new about that, about the juices here in Colombia. So and yeah, and so yeah, like I said, I have everything what I need, and it's like there's this nice vibe here. And I'm not a big dancer, but well, I will go on Friday to like there. I heard about Boulevard, it's called, but they write it on Spanish, Bulevar, and that's like very popular here, and that's like in Cali is the salsa city. So I will take a look on it. It's really a lot of fun, you know, when I'm working less. So maybe I will start one day maybe with salsa or something. It's really fun.
Well, so funny quick side note. So my wife is from China and her big passion growing up was Latin dance, and her uncle was a Latin dance instructor. And so she did this forever. And we've now lived in Latin America for 6 years together, the last 6 years. Like we were in the Middle East before that together. And we have never been out dancing together. We've never taken a lesson together, nothing. And I don't know why. There's literally no reason why. I think we've just been super busy with 3 kids that's kind of like had our hands full, and our nights where I don't have a client dinner is just like chilling out and goofing off and wrestling with my boys and stuff like that. But for Colombia, Colombia is this amazing place. You know, if you guys follow the flag theory type of idea where you have a banking flag and a structuring flag and a tax flag and these types of things, Colombia for me firmly fits into the playground flag. Like Colombia is the playground. You can have the most amazing lifestyle for very, very low cost. Like you said, tropical fruit and amazing places to go hiking and so much history and so much things to do. And it's just so wonderful there. I just probably wouldn't want to be a tax resident there or something like that. But
Right.
from a lifestyle standpoint, it's like amazing. Go and spend time in Colombia anytime. And I've taken my wife over to Colombia. We spent a month in Medellin and she went crazy for it there. She just absolutely loved, loved, loved it through and through and through. And it's only an hour's flight, 50 minutes to Medellin, and I'm not even sure how far to Cali. And so it's so
More or less
easy to
the
get
same.
back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like maybe like 20 minutes more or something, 30 minutes maximum. Yeah, it's very close actually. Yeah.
Well, and
And
you
I agree
mentioned the big
100%.
event that we've
That,
got coming up. Yeah, I'm super excited to see you here in Panama. That's March 14th and 15th. You're going to be
yeah,
here as long as tons of other friends, and it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be 2 full days of parties, and
yeah.
um,
Finally,
you know,
finally, I come to your birthday. Yeah,
I know
the
after
it was
4
very
years
hard.
now or something like
Yeah.
this. Exactly. I've come out to visit you, so I'm glad to see that you're making the effort to come and visit me on my birthday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Mhm.
work. There's so much going
I
on
know.
for putting on a live event.
I just want to say because I know really what it means. I just want to be a little advocate for you for all the work you do because you don't have to do it like this, but you do it, and I know what these kind of events really from A to to the end, what it means. So it's a lot of work. So yeah, highly appreciate it. And that's like we can try to do a lot of things online here, and as we have here our talk. But of course, we all know it's not the same. Like really meeting somebody in reality, and especially with these kind of events where you have like I don't know 100 people and more, and you can connect to so many interesting people and souls, and that's amazing. And that's what we shouldn't forget. I have to experience because we do also some investor travels and have the experience where when there was COVID and actually it went to the roof. So people came, they all wanted, for example, to Paraguay, and also our Panama event became popular, etc. And then after COVID, it went down a lot, So, and it's still, it's hard to get people, it's my experience, at least in the moment, in the German market, into these kind of freedom events. And that's really a pity, because it's so valuable, and I can highly recommend everybody, like really also to travel a little bit at the same time. And yeah, and to combine kind of like vacation with networking and new information. And I think that's the best what you can do. Skip regular vacations, or just reduce it at least a little bit, and make something which really makes sense to get into a new country, which really helps with your flag strategy, and learning something new. And when also, I don't know, travel somewhere and opening a bank account in Georgia, for example, do these kind of things, It makes a lot of sense. I would highly recommend to everybody, do these kind of things and do networking. It will be much more important the next years.
100%. I agree with you. And thank you for the endorsement. And hopefully everybody who's coming to the event will have a chance to come up and shake your hand and say hello to you at the event, because we're going to try to make sure that this goes out right before. So that's going to be amazing. And I couldn't agree more. You talked already about being able to do multiple things at the same time to get the most bang from your buck that you have in life. And that's exactly what you just said. Go on vacation, network, and spend time with cool people and learn lots of things. That's exactly what we're all about. And that's what we're going to be doing at the event. So it's going to be fantastic. Thorsten, thank you so much for the amazing conversation today. I will see you in a very short period of time for the event. In the interim, if my listeners want to get a hold of you, if they want to find out more about what you do, where can we send them?
Yeah, thorstenwittmann.com. Well, the homepage is in German, but we have also a Spanish channel. English at the moment, not, but yeah, if somebody wants to reach out or is curious, just send us an email in English. Looking forward to hear maybe from some guys. And yeah, thanks for the talk. It was great being finally on your podcast. I'm really looking forward to come back to Panama. Amazing country. I love it. It has so many interesting advantages, which I can, of course, also see when I read your mails, etc. And yeah, it's an amazing country. So see you there.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Thorsten.